Hey everyone, and welcome to r/confessions, the place where people share the secrets that they have not told anyone. And we do get a whole range of things on this sub. For example, this one by your JJ Doocy Louse. In kindergarten, I called a girl Roxanne Sand, but apparently her name was Roxanne. No wonder she hated me so much. And literally, that's it. That's the whole post. We get these funny little playful confessions. But on the other hand, we get some absolutely crazy ones. And one of these crazy ones is what I'm about to get into. This is a long one, so strap yourself in. Here is a confession by user/Mistress Les Roleplay. I'll have to give a bit of backstory to explain this whole thing. My parents married young, I wasn't planned, and when they were growing up, it was the standard thing that when you have a baby, you get your own place. It didn't matter if you rented or bought a place. So with my parents being young, and with a baby on the way, they rented from this lovely fellow from Osaka, Japan, who we'll call Uncle Kiryu. Now, Uncle Kiryu was a wealthy man who made a lot of money from oil and property. But he started from nothing, so he knew that being young, you needed a helping hand to get people started. So he would rent out apartments and houses at lower than market rates for people who wanted a roof above their heads. He still made a profit, and because he had so many properties, he always had a steady income, whether there was a recession, floods, war, or etc. Now, Uncle Kiryu was always generous to me and my family. Helped where he could. We even had him over for birthdays and New Year's. He once brought me to the dentist when I fell and broke a tooth at age 11. And he paid it without question. Over time, as my parents got older, finished college, got better jobs, he helped them move from a one-bedroom apartment with no garden to a nice townhouse to a 3-bedroom house right outside the city centre in Dublin. All of which he owned and rented out to them. However, if Kiryu has a fault, he always tries to see the best in people, even if their flaws are staring him in the face. The reason I'm telling you so much about Uncle Kiryu is because he's very important in this story, and because I literally owe him my life. About 12 years after they had me, my parents, unfortunately, were in a car accident and had numerous injuries. My dad cracked his ribs, tore a muscle in his back, and dislocated both shoulders. My mum broke her leg in 2 places and shattered her right foot. Thanks to these injuries, they sadly lost their jobs. This was back when you could get away with making people redundant for long-term medical injuries. Thanks to the injuries and losing their jobs, they were stuck at home all day and could do very little except take painkillers and watch TV. I spent a lot of time with family, babysitters, or just hanging out with friends outside for at least a year while they recovered and went through rehab and surgeries. There is a part of long-term injuries this isn't always brought up. Pain management. Between broken bones, torn muscles, and not being able to work, Mum and Dad were in pain. And taking a lot of pills and injections just to function. And well, pain medication can be quite addictive and can change you as a person. This was only too clear to see as my parents changed from proud, hard-working, loving people to addicts who cared about getting a fix. Once they recovered from their injuries, they couldn't get pain pills anymore, so they switched to heroin and alcohol. Once that started, the abuse soon followed. They teased me about everything, making me feel bad about getting 92 on a test. Why didn't you get the other 8%? Stealing money I was making at a part-time job I had as a waitress in a hotel. It's in our house, so it's our money. Complaining about having to pay for new bras and clothes when I outgrew them, which I unfortunately did a lot, culminating in me learning to sew and make my own bra extenders, and repair tears in my clothes and school uniform. To this day, I still have an emergency clothes fund as a just in case, guilting me into slowly doing more and more housework, to the point my days literally consisted of get up, make the breakfast, go to school, occasionally go to work, come home, do the housework, make dinner, do homework, shower, and go to bed. The moment that broke me was when I was 17. We'd been fighting over something stupid, and to this day, I still can't remember what. But I do remember what they said to me. "You're just a lazy, good-for-nothing bee. All you do is rip your clothes with your fat effing and complain, even though we keep this roof over your head and food in the fridge. So shut up, you're worthless. You're just going to be a waitress all your life anyway. You're not worth a fiver. This was followed by a slap from Dad and my mum spitting on me. Have you ever heard the expression, you can't see the forest through the trees? Well, that damn day lit a fire under me and I got ready to burn down the forest. What followed was me putting all my time into school and work. This part will sound like I'm bragging. I don't mean to. I'll try to make it more factual and to the point. The next 5 years seemed to fly by in a month. I don't know how or why, but I turned into a machine and made something of myself. I finished my leaving certificate, the equivalent of SATs for you lovely Yanks across the sea, and got into culinary college. Passed with flying colours, and a very sticky croquembouche that fell on my teacher, and got a job as a prep chef in the hotel I was working at. Moved out of my parents' house and into an apartment. Thank you, Uncle Kiryu. Busted my butt and got promoted to commerce chef, then line chef, and after about 3 years, Swiss chef. I wasn't the best chef there, far from it. But until I made Swiss chef, I was paid hourly, so I worked every hour they would give, and that earned me a lot of respect. Plus, I would always clear the oil and water drains in the kitchens. And I saved up a lot of money for a rainy day. All the while, my parents fell deeper into their addictions. We kept our distance mostly, we saw each other on birthdays, Christmas, and etc. Occasionally, I'd get a call to borrow money for food. Here's a tip, if someone asks for food money, offer to bring them shopping. If they're genuine, they'll jump at the chance. If not, they'll run. Whenever I visit, their house has fallen into disrepair. Broken windows, torn wallpaper, burn marks everywhere, mold in the ceilings, and etc. Broken plumbing. Seriously, I had to turn the water off to stop the second floor from being destroyed. Uncle Kiryu notices, but they won't let him in to fix the place up. The moment that made my attitude go from, I'm going to make something of myself, to, I will destroy you, was last Christmas. We went to a family get-together, and it was the usual party. Big turkey, way too much mulled wine, tons of prezzies, old song about Old Lang Syne, and everyone watching Mr. Brown's Boys. It's a popular show with our family. My lovely aunt was telling anyone who would listen how I helped save her daughter's wedding by catering the whole thing. I didn't, I just put her in contact with a friend of mine who specialises in wedding meals. And my dad, in his pill and mulled wine induced stupor, decided to rant about my career. A caterer? An effing caterer? Oh no, I'm sorry. You're some big Ponzi chef. Why didn't you go into construction like me? Do something useful with your life, not some worthless career where all you do is peel potatoes all day. My mum, of course, decides to chime in and essentially mumbles some inordinate abuse, calling my work not a proper job. Anyone can do it. A cow like you isn't worth a damn fiver. Now this is where they touched a nerve. I will admit, I am a woman who has an ego when it comes to my work. I'm not at the level of Michelin star chefs, but I'm damn good at what I do. I worked hard to get there, and I know I'm worth something. Skipping forward a couple of weeks, and I'm at my Uncle Kiryu's house for his New Year's party. He always celebrates at mid-January for some reason. And he's talking about work, and how it's a good time to sell some of his properties that are vacant. And it hits me. What if I buy my parents' house? So Uncle Kiryu and I get to talking, and he realises that with the house in such a state of disrepair, it would cost a lot to repair. So he agrees to sell it to me at a cheaper price rather than having it fixed up first. I'm not proud of this, but I convinced him, outright lied, that I wanted to buy the place to ensure my parents would always have a roof over their heads. Well, it took nearly 6 months, and this damnable virus didn't help. But soon enough, I got the confirmation from my lawyer and estate agent that I now own my parents' 3-bedroom house, and I'm their new landlord. As part of a sale, I asked Uncle Kiryu to organise the transfer of rent payments to a new bank account that I set up, and I've had him work as my intermediary with them. So they haven't had to meet their new landlord yet. I can't evict them yet. There is currently a freeze on evictions in my country. But once the virus crisis is done, they'll have 3 months to get the hell out. Then I can fix the damage they've done and move into my house. Meanwhile, they're on benefits and can barely afford a damn meal. Never mind somewhere to live. I'm watching the calendar, waiting for my day to visit and serve an eviction notice. I'm not the good girl or the hero of this story, but I'm worth more than a $5. And you see, this is what I mean when I say it's quite the story. I don't even know what to say to this one, OP. Drugs and alcohol can do some terrible things. And I'm sorry you had to go through what you did, but yeah, no, I don't think I'm in any position to give advice on this one. I have literally got nothing. I will say you are damn lucky to have Uncle Kiryu helping you out. He seems like a great guy, and you're lucky to have him around. But wow, I've got no words for this one. So let's move on to the next one by user/moneyprinter goes brr. This is probably nothing out of the ordinary for the sub, but to me, this is the craziest thing that's ever happened to me, and I wanted to share my story. This started over a month ago. I'm a network engineer at a smaller company. We recently hired a sales manager who's an attractive older woman. Her first day in the office, I was in charge of getting all her computer stuff situated. As I was doing the work, she made small talk and we just casually chatted. I gave her my extension and told her to call me if anything else comes up. She called a few times over the next week and I would run up to her office and help her with petty things, i.e. a mouse ran out of batteries, loose cables, and etc. Each time I came by, the conversations got more in depth. She started talking about her divorce and how her ex-husband was in IT, and that she found a smart guy to be sexy. We ended up talking more than fixing anything. I'm an awkward dude, but she's an outgoing salesperson, so she knew exactly how to keep the awkwardness away. And to my surprise, we chatted and got along pretty well really quick. Well, one evening, after most of the staff had left for the day, she calls me to say her laptop is stuck in the dock. I go up there, do a little finesse, and get it unstuck. We had our usual conversation with a few casual flirts here and there. We're laughing, both relaxed. She puts her hand on my leg a few times, and she's getting more touchy. She ends up telling me about her home computer and how it won't boot to Windows anymore. Since she only lives 5 minutes away from the office, I decided to get some balls and just say, well, maybe one of these days I can swing by and take a look. She offered for me to come over right after work, and so I did. I get to her house, and holy frick, it was huge. All prepped with my computer repair kits. She shows me to the computer, and I start looking at it. It took less than 15 minutes for both of us to have a vodka cranberry in our hands and to be feeling tipsy. I got to the point where I was too tipsy to even fluently work with the computer, so she offered for me to take a break and just hang out on the couch to chat. We talked, then we flirted. Next thing I know, I'm making out with her, and my hand is up her dress, pulling her underwear off. I learned really quick how wild an older woman can be. It was full-blown, no limits. Touch and lick wherever you want. And I did, and so did she. We also passionately hugged, and it was phenomenal. The whole experience lasted an hour. Exhausted, I went home and never actually fixed her computer. I've gone back over a few times more, planning to actually fix her computer, but I never have. I'm sure you know what went down instead. I've always been attracted to older women, but this is my first experience with one. I effing love it. She's wild and crazy. No one in the office has any idea. I guess we'll see how far this ends up going. I'm not quite sure why I even bothered censoring passionately hugging. With this story, what is even the point? But look, OP, you're both single adults. I mean, there's nothing really wrong with it. I guess for you though, it is quite the experience, quite the change. And here's the next post by user/presidential assassin. My teenage daughter loves music. It's an integral part of her identity. I like 90s alt-rock, and while she does too, and has an eclectic taste in general, she prefers recent rap hip-hop. Travis Scott, Kid Cudi, Kanye, and etc. When driving, I always told her whoever drove got to pick the music, and anytime she made me grief about what I would put on. I would switch it to stuff like Nat King Cole, or Tom Jones, or Yanni, or Sports Talk, and blast it. The other day, I took her to get her driver's license, and she passed. So she's all excited, and declares she's driving us home. And as soon as she gets behind the wheel, she informs me that the driver picks the tunes. I'm like, hey kid, you did great, you're the DJ. So she pulls up her rap playlist, and off we go. As we're driving home, she's totally focused on the road, especially because we're on the freeway and the traffic is pretty heavy. I'm texting her mom and her brother and sister about how she passed and all that, but also every time a new song starts, I switch over and Shazam it. She has Apple CarPlay up on the screen and maps, so no song info is visibly available. Then, while the song is playing, at some point I casually ask, hey, is this song? And I'll name the artist and the exact mix version of the song. The first couple of times she's like, yeah, it is. Have I played it for you before? I tell her, maybe, I've heard it somewhere. By the fourth or fifth songs, she's like, what the F, Dad? How do you know all of these? I figured it was best to leave her amazed, so I never told her. Oh, that's amazing. Imagine being able to convince your kids that you are actually super cool. But then, it's a little trick. Not fully honest, but I totally get it. This is a nice and innocent one. I like it, OP. I really like it. And guys, I think that post will be the last one for the day. Now, this is the first time I've been to this sub, so please tell me if you want more. If you'd like to see more posts from this sub, or if you'd rather I stick to some of the subs I've already done. I've been exploring quite a few, so make sure to leave your thoughts in the comments down below. Another thing is I've been moving around my upload schedule a bit. It was traditionally Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. What I'm trialing is doing videos every second day. I'll see how that goes, but for now, look out for a video every second day. Hopefully, I'll be able to keep it up. But with that said, you guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and all I want to do is see you all here next time. See you later, guys.